remotely.
She's not well tonight, so.
Okay, so she's going to watch it and take the minutes.
And do the
then
minutes.
use the recording. All right, I will call to order the Torch Lake Township meeting of January 17th, 2023 at 7:01. 7:01. Will you join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance? And Sharon, you will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reviewing the housekeeping items. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming, and I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to their microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. Would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issue concerns or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. Board, we have 4 sets of minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes for the regular board meeting of December 20th, 2022? Alan? No. Jason? Any thoughts? Oh, good. Kathy?
And I watched them from Tennessee, and it was an hour and 18 minutes. Is it because I wasn't here, or?
We're not going to answer that question, Sharon. There's not a
I
chance.
have no concerns.
All right. I will make the motion to approve the December 20th, 2022 regular board meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting minutes of December 20th, 2022. Any further discussion regarding? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0.
5-0.
5-0.
5-0 tonight. Yep.
Jason's here. Are there any changes to the minutes for the special board meeting of December 22nd, 2022 that was related to the hiring of a part-time paramedic? Any comments or changes?
I do. In number
Okay.
3, his name is not Matthew. What is his name, Sharon? The new hire. I'm sure the name, there's help right there.
Mr. Lott.
What's Mr. Lott's first name? Andrew, thank you.
I wasn't at this meeting, so
Yeah, but you listened to it, no excuse.
not this one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Andrew, okay, so we'll make that change. Anything else? Kath?
Nope.
No? All right. Then I will make the motion to approve
Oh.
the,
I'm sorry.
okay.
I want to make sure we know what we're doing in item number 4 because I may have written it up wrong.
I was wondering about that because it's what I heard.
What you asked us, Jairus, was to donate 1 grave site. And what I did was I worded it so that we were donating 1 full lot, which is 6 grave sites. I don't know that that's what we intended to do. The word lot should be changed to grave. Because a lot has either 4 to 6 graves in it.
To
I was wondering
cemetery.
about that.
All right, so
A plot would be a grave. But a lot on our map and in our cemetery
Is
lots
multiple.
contain more than 1 grave.
okay.
They probably
That
mean
plot
one
or
grave, one grave. Especially if you were saying how much were they gonna put in one grave? 8. So, yeah, because what we intended to do was donate the grave plus all those little oddball ones that we have all over there, if they needed them in the future. We have places on corners where a coffin wouldn't fit, or,
That's what the other townships are doing,
Yeah.
is corners and edges.
Yep. All right, so you want to change the word from lot to plot and change
the
it all?
motion, in the motion,
That's fine,
one full cemetery lot
plot.
should be changed to either
Lot.
plot
We-
or.
We use
or
lots here,
Lot.
Well, I
No, a
think,
lot is wrong though,
oh,
Sharon.
right,
plot or grave.
Grave is
it's better, that's fine.
grave.
Then you want to change the word
Corner.
following usable corner
Cornered lots,
to
graves
to
also.
graves. Okay,
I wondered about that.
After I read it, I thought, is that what we said?
lots, plots.
Plots, lots, yeah.
So are you all set then?
So that is now correct. Thank you, sir.
All right. I will make the motion to approve the December 22nd, 2022 special board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of December 22nd, 2022 with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0. 5-0.
5.
Are there any changes to the minutes for the special board meeting of January 4th, 2023 related to our establishing the 2023-2024 pay schedule? Discussion. Any changes?
I have
Yeah.
one. If you're putting all these numbers in the bottom here, Kathy, one of these are wrong here.
Which
The-
one?
The zoning admin assistant is 21, not 1875.
The 1875 is the current rate.
No, it's 21,
21 is the current rate.
Yes.
Thank you. And it's going to 22.
yes.
Okay.
And then
I hesitated to do it this way, lay it out this way,
yeah,
but all those salary increases up above were all motions. And so since they were activity taken by the board, I felt that I couldn't just say, well, look at the sheet. So I put them all in there individually, because that's the way it was done that night.
That's fine. So which one is changing, Sharon?
the 1875, it should be 21.
Down almost to the bottom.
Zoning admin,
Yes.
admin assistant?
Yep.
All right.
And then I had one comment in the back. I didn't understand it. Martell comments. Maybe we can figure that one out.
Alan said it was a blessing. How did you word that, Alan? That the first snowstorm was a blessing because it sort of prepared us for the second one?
No, it wasn't prepared. It did a
The
lot.
bad stuff happened in the first one?
No, it did a tremendous amount of pruning in October.
Mm.
And the trees, serious trees that went down in October easily would have gone down in the blizzard of Christmas. We
So
didn't
I
have to
guess
deal
the
with
last
those.
word should be snow then, instead of then now. I didn't understand it.
That it took trees down then rather than now, now meaning that current
As it
snowstorm
took-
that we had just
as it-
had.
Blessing as it took down trees then rather than now.
In December,
I didn't understand it. That's,
rather than in December, does that make it work, Alan?
that's fine. I
Should've
just
said
didn't
then.
understand it.
How about if you just say Martell commented that the first snowstorm was a blessing? Instead of trying to explain.
Well,
I mean,
because
really,
I-
guys.
Just change
Because
the
I-
A to an E.
I thought people would think it was weird that he thought a snowstorm was a blessing.
I think so too.
And he did, and he did explain why he was saying it,
Well, it
so.
was then rather than. It's then rather than. I didn't know if it was supposed to be then snow or now or anyway. That's,
So we're taking the first then to then? Is that what you're saying? Then rather than now.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
that would
fine.
work.
We'll change that one word. All
I
right.
just felt it
Then.
was.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Are the, like, the pay schedule on the bottom, Are those per hour as well, or is that per day?
Which ones? Almost all
Park
of
attendant
those,
lead, those are all per hours as
They're
well?
all per hour.
yeah.
We don't have anything per day.
I know, I just wondered why it said per hour for the top half and
Yeah.
didn't say per hour for the bottom
It
half.
should have probably continued down.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, well,
Well, so liquor inspector, do you want me to add per hour to all of those? Liquor inspector,
that's-
payroll
yeah.
clerk,
That's the appropriate pay.
scanning, park, and park lead. Okay,
And you
I'll
would-
put those in.
You would then have to carry that over underneath the proposed rate.
Okay,
You know, Kathy, I think that like at the top where it says the job, after where it says current rate, I think you could put a parentheses per hour.
Per
You
hour.
Go to the proposed rate, parentheses per hour.
and not
You
have to
take-
do it
Take
to
them
each
right
one.
out.
I like that.
That works. Any other thoughts?
that's
Not-
all I had.
If not, I will make the motion to approve the January 4th special board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second those.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of January 4th, 2023 as presented. I'm sorry, as with the changes.
With changes, yeah.
Any further discussion regarding the motion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Are there any changes to the minutes for the special board meeting of January 11th, 2023 related to the review of funds and road budgets? Yes?
Mike's comment right in the very beginning, I don't know if we want it in here or not, but he said, Mike stated right at the very beginning of his presentation, he said 5% across the board. Do we need that in there or not?
No, he had a suggested rate.
Okay, all right,
and
that's
the board
fine.
acted accordingly.
Okay, then going down in B, teeny tiny, the 10 PM should be 6 AM instead of AN. It's just AM, PM.
So 3B.
It's just a teeny tiny
Yep,
N instead of an M.
6 AM. Got it?
Okay,
Any other comments? If not, I will make the motion to approve the January 11th, 2023 special board meeting minutes as with changes.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of January 11th, 2023 with changes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right. Kath, moving on to any correspondence or announcements?
No correspondence.
All right. You have no announcements for us?
No, sir.
About your birthday?
Oh, it's your birthday, it's your birthday.
All right,
59 again.
okay.
You gotta be like the, what's it, the Beatles?
Moving on to the approval of the agenda. Any changes to the agenda? All right,
I'll make a motion to, oh, go ahead.
no, go on.
Make the motion for approval of agenda content as presented.
I'll second that.
I wonder if they could hear me.
It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented. Any further discussion regarding the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on to citizen comments. Please respect the 4-minute limit. Also, board, as a reminder, This is not citizen debate. Board members can respond during the final board comment section of the agenda. Thank you. Jairus, what would it be without you, man?
I know.
You got to turn the green, get it.
There we go. I got
Did
it.
it.
I do have another meeting tonight, so after this, I'm probably gonna.
All right.
Just a couple things. Turn off.
Just hold it for a second. Sometimes it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that won't work.
There we go. The road commission meeting was today. The 4-day snowstorm that we had right around Christmas, 2 days before and 2 days after, the total cost the road commission $165,000. And like almost 30,000 of that was in fuel alone, plus overtime because it was on a week. Christmas was Sunday, right? So plus we had a couple of snow plows that got stuck. So they have, when you have a snow plow that gets stuck, they're usually stuck pretty good. So they had to call in the big plows to get them out.
Oh.
So it was a challenge. The road commission garage in Central Lake, they subcontracted the floor, the pouring of the floor to a company from Grand Rapids called Kent Company, and they did a terrible job. There's standing water in many places on the floor instead of going to the drains. And the road commission today made a motion towards the end of their meeting to pay no more money for the garage until it's fixed. And they're holding a special meeting at the garage next week, Tuesday, so. It's a shame. I told them when the project started, I said, when we're done with this, I would like a nice building. I would like it to be done on time, and I would like it to be done on budget. And the answer to all three of those questions is no. It's still not done. And we're over $100,000 over budget with a couple of change orders that came in.
Are you having the same company come back and fix it?
I don't think so.
I'm just was curious.
Yeah. The chairman of the commissioners is making his chairman's appointments on Thursday. And there's 5 commissioners now instead of 9, so he's suggesting that all of the liaison commissioners no longer have to go to the meeting. They will be, those committees will be sending their minutes and agendas to the commissioners. So after today, I guess I'm technically not the liaison to the road commission anymore. But so far I am being put on the capital improvement committee, the farmland and open space preservation board, Northern Michigan Counties Association, North Country Community Mental Health and Health Department and Soil Erosion, Sedimentation, and Stormwater Runoff Appeals Board and Street and Road Numbering Appeals Committee, and also as the liaison to the 86th District Court. So I think I'll still have enough meetings to go to by about
Yes,
like
so-
3 more a month.
Good Lord.
So does that mean we're not going to see you?
No, I still plan on coming.
All right.
I do, like I said, I do have another meeting tonight, so I'm going to take off, but if you have any questions, now's your chance, I guess.
What other areas are you covering? What other township areas are you covering?
I have 3 townships, Banks, Torch Lake, and Central Lake.
Oh, okay.
This week is my busy meeting week. Yesterday was Banks Township, tonight's Torch Lake, tomorrow night is Central Lake Township. And 2 villages, the village of Central Lake and the village of Ellsworth. So if I go to all those, I have 5 meetings a month just to keep in the loop of what's going on at the local level. I don't usually go to every village meeting. I try to hit like every other one or something like that. I don't really know a whole lot about North Country Community Mental Health, but I guess I'm going to get educated because they have a meeting every month and they have a pretty good sized budget. So,
All right, good. Thanks a lot, Jairus.
yeah, thanks for following up with the unclaimed remains. And Banks Township is going to give a couple plots that are on the corners that aren't wells, that aren't ideal, I guess.
All right,
Thank you.
great, thanks. All right, board, we'll move on to consent agenda. Anyone wish to pull a report?
Is there any other public or?
Oh,
No?
nobody came rushing up.
I have,
So any of the consent agenda?
I don't need the report pulled to make my comment, but may I ask a question? Or does it need to be pulled?
You can ask.
Hang on. On the fire report, gentlemen, your meetings in December, one of your Wednesday night meetings, you worked on fire suppression for electric cars. Are electric cars more dangerous than gasoline? Are they harder to put out? Different techniques involved there? I'm curious.
Yeah, the EV fires are posing a difficult task to all fire departments because of the lithium batteries that are encased in the bottom of the vehicle. You can't suppress them with water. You can't suppress them with foam. They burn hotter. They reignite after they've been towed away, sometimes on the flatbed en route to the yard. So we're looking at options just in case we have one in our area. And right now, the cheapest route for us to go is what they call a fire blanket. And we can either get one, I think they're around 5,000. They're multiple use, or a fire blanket for a single use is like $2,400. And all that does is we're able to cover the entire electric vehicle in that blanket. And it just basically smothers out the fire.
Smothers it.
So
Can we
this is
charge
going to
them?
be an ongoing thing with fire departments all over. And so we started training on the safety precautions of approaching and how to deal with them since more are on the road. And we're going to continue these classes at Station 2 as the winter goes and keep updated on all current information coming in to us through the NFPA and other media outlets. So that's where we're at with that, Kathy.
Okay, so they are more difficult to put out.
Yes.
Are those as insurances, can they be billed for something like that?
That would be something I'd have to investigate. There's a
that's good.
possibility of cost recovery on that. as
I heard
with
something about that
everything.
before, so.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Kevin.
That's all I needed.
All right, then all reports are hereby accepted by consensus then. We will move on. Special reports, Jason, Planning Commission.
Well, we were all there. Or no, actually, we weren't there. There's a couple of us missing. I'm glad to see that Mr. Strange is not MIA.
You probably shouldn't make shots at Mike. He's a little bigger than you. All right, when's the new meeting is
Makeup meeting.
January 23rd.
Monday.
Okay, so that will be the follow-up board meeting on January 23rd. Kathy, FOIAs.
The same one that I've been talking about for a little while now, the gentleman that's asking to take photos of all the ballots from this past November election. I have not seen yet that the election has been certified, so until that happens, I can't share any information with anyone, FOIA or not.
Okay. I'll give the financial overview. There are a lot of numbers. As I've always indicated, the detailed financial report is on the website. Any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to myself or the clerk's office. We have had a lot of activity. We have begun receiving our winter tax receipts, which are running ahead of last year's collection rate. We collected $400,000 more in taxes this year than we did last year, and about the same difference versus the budget. 25% of that was because of the road millage collected this year was not budgeted, and we didn't have much collected last year. But the other three funds saw a substantial increase in the timing of payments. December expenses came in nearly 50% below budget, basically lower capital outlay, and the funds drove the majority of the favorability. For December, cash flow was positive $596,000. Versus the budget, we are favorable by $471,000, of which that $400,000 of that was in the tax collections. On a year-to-date basis, we are favorable to the budget by $300,000. Year-to-date expenses are over budget by $256,000. The general fund is currently favorable to the budget by $105,000. Expenses are primarily down in the zoning administration, ZBA, and planning areas. The road fund is flat. The ambulance fund is negative $294,000, and that, of course, is from the purchase of the new ambulance. Otherwise, they would be relatively flat. And the fire fund is negative $72,000 based on our capital expenditures. The specific line details can be found on the website under our board meeting information. The file is called Fund by Detail Line. Our cash position remains in good shape for the key funds, as the treasurer's report indicates. A balance in the general fund of $770,000. This is after we provided $165,000 to the ambulance fund and moved $124,000 to the ARPA money to the fire fund. Fire fund is at $562,000, and that includes the $124 of the ARPA funds. They will be used next year for the purchase of the new fire truck tanker. The ambulance fund is $414,000, and that includes the loan from the general fund of $165,000. The road fund is at $86,000, and we should be around $270,000 by the time we collect all of the taxes. That will be the amount available for our 2023-2024 road program. We are working through the budgets and have a $145,000 grant request in with the state for day park improvements. That's it for the finance report.
Very good, thank you.
We will move on to board action. Board, you have on your desk the revised items for business items 2 through 5, I believe. Yes, 2 through 5. I had some misdates in the information I gave you originally. And so I've fixed those motions. And, but I want to make sure you have them and we can go one at a time. First one is related to the pay schedule for 2023. We spent quite a bit of time on the meetings on the 4th and the 11th. Anyone on the board wish to express any other thoughts on what we put together? If not, then is there a motion related to this matter?
Are you okay?
It's here, I just had it in my hand, but now I
What are you
can't find
looking
it.
for?
The pay schedule, but I've looked at it a million times, so I just don't have one to write on. I have one. And I thought we were going to these next, so I moved it, and now I'm not sure where I put it. Fronts, backs. Go ahead and make the motion, I'm
All
fine.
right. Somebody make a motion?
I'll
on
make
that?
the motion to approve the proposed Township Township pay schedule for fiscal year 2023 and 2024 as presented.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jason. Motion has been moved and second to approve the proposed Torch Lake Township pay schedule for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 as presented. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, would you have a roll call vote?
I can. Let's see. Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
myself, yes, and Bob.
Yes.
That means that motion passes 5-0.
All right.
That's the motion stuff.
I've got
All right.
motion. I just
Okay, okay.
put my hand on it.
Kath, are you ready?
I am, go
All
ahead.
right. So, board, the next four items were held with consensus. And so to get through them a little more quickly, I will make the motions. We'll move through them. Item number 2, I make the motion to approve the resolution of number 2023-01 for the treasurer's salary for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 at
Bless you.
at $33,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jason. The motion has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number 2023-01 for the treasurer's salary for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 at $33,000. Any discussion related to the motion? Hearing none, Kathy, would you conduct the roll call?
I
please?
will. Cook,
Yes.
Merchant,
Yes.
myself, yes, Schultz,
Yes.
and Martell.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Are you ready,
Who-
Kath? Let me
You
know.
made the motion and,
Cook and Merchant.
I'll be making all the motions on these.
okay.
I'm ready.
All right. I make the motion to approve the resolution number 2023-02 for the clerk's salary for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 at $27,300. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number 2023-02 for the clerk's salary for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 at $27,300. Any discussion related to the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, would you conduct the roll call?
Yes, Martell,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Merchant.
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
myself, yes.
Motion passes. 5-0. Item number 4, I make the motion to approve the resolution of 2023-04 for the trustee salary for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 at $5,800. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Did you say 2023-04?
No.
Okay.
2024.
24, that's what I heard. Oh, sorry. Okay,
I mean, the numbers do kind of run together
after a while, yeah.
All right, it's been seconded by
Mr. Martell?
Alan. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution number 2023-04 for the
Dash-
trustee.
No, it's
Oh,
dash
three.
03.
03.
That's what I was asking.
All right, 03 for the trustee salary for the fiscal year of 2023-2024 at $5,800.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Guess we cleared up the motion. All those, Kathy,
Yeah.
roll call. please.
Windy 8, yes. Schultz,
Yes.
Martell,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Merchant.
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
All right. Item number 5. Will someone make that motion, please?
I make the motion to approve the resolution 2023-4 supervisor salary for fiscal year 2022 through 2023 through 2024 at $31,500.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the supervisor's salary for resolution 2023-04, the supervisor's salary for fiscal year 2023-2024 at $31,500. Kathy, would you?
Yep.
have a
Windy
roll
8,
call?
first on this one, yes. Mr. Martell,
Yes.
Merchant,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
and Schultz.
Yes.
That resolution passes 5-0.
Thank you, board. All right. I
Here's
believe,
my
I
pay schedule.
believe I put in your packets a letter from zoning administrator. You have that. She has requested that we name Bob Hicks as our, who is our ordinance enforcement officer, as the designated signer.
Bob Hawkins.
Bob Hawkins.
I was gonna say, Bob, yes.
Why did I put Bob? Bob, well, I'm doing these on Saturday and Hicks and I are doing all the uploads, so. So Bob Hawkins, as a designated signer, which she has the authority to do on zoning violation tickets. And it's basically to help with getting them signed, because right now, Jackie is not signing them, and for us to get them signed, we got to get Sarah here. So he would be the designated, and she is allowed to name one designated signer. We got approval through Todd Millar when this came up, and Todd basically gave us the information to do it. Any questions on that?
So the process will be that, how will the process work then?
The process will work similar to in the past, except either, Jackie will put things together. He will go out and do the investigation. He will return. They will jointly put together the information on the ticket. He will sign it. And they will review it with the zoning administrator prior to his signature. Once that's signed, it goes the same process.
So these would be zoning violations?
Zoning violations.
Permit violations, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So I will make the motion to, oh, geez, wrong one.
Well,
Go ahead.
I think they're just numbered wrong. This should be item number 6 instead of 7 at the top. Is that
Yeah,
what's?
mine's the same way as yours.
Mine says 6.
I
Resolution
am
But
6.
way
here,
too
Kathy,
organized.
Oh, well, I'm looking at the actual words, so.
Right. But a business item.
But
Kathy.
6 is correct, isn't it?
Well, it says 6 in new business, but then it says 7.
Well, that's new business, but
What was on that?
resolutions,
Resolution.
4 was supervisor.
Yeah.
So this
So
should
this
be,
should
I'm
actually
missing
is
that
5.
one. I missed it. It says 7. Yeah.
Unless you want Bobby,
All right,
Bobby.
so we are on what, number 6? So I will make the motion to approve Resolution 2023-06, supporting the zoning administrator's designation of the ordinance enforcement officer, Bob Hawkins, as an authorized signer for zoning ordinance tickets. Do I have a second?
I think that should be 5, Bob. 2305.
All right,
Because supervisor was the last one at being number 4.
we'll modify that, 2023-05.
Correct.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you.
The motion was by who?
Cook?
Cook, yeah. I
And
made the
roll-
motion to approve the resolution of 2023-05, supporting the zoning administrator's designation of the ordinance enforcement officer, Bob Hawkins, as an authorized signer for zoning ordinance tickets.
I have I have a comment.
Discussion.
Do we want the name in there or do we want the position only? I always thought about that.
The question is, a good one, it was just that I use the name
Example.
because if the person moves and we decide that we want someone else until that individual becomes more familiar with the process, we would have to redo the designation, and this allows us
Okay.
to do
I
that
just
without worrying about it.
Wasn't sure.
That was the only reason I did it, was by identifying the person. If Bob Hawkins leaves, then we need to redo it with whomever she designates. You
I'm
look
trying to
perplexed.
remember if there were any very mad people that got a ticket and were able to resolve them before a ticket. I'm just concerned about Bob Hawkins in that circumstance. What
Well, he still has when we put together that ordinance, or for the ordinance enforcement officer, he's not to put himself in danger if that's your concern.
Okay, well, he always can call a police officer to go with him.
Oh, absolutely.
So that if he feels
We actually
uncomfortable-
were on a call, Alan, and,
Bob, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. We were on a call, Bob and I, and we actually requested some backup. I think Sharon made the phone call for 911. So he's not hesitant to
Okay.
do that.
Okay.
All right. If no other comments, then we should have a roll call vote.
Mr. Cook,
Yes?
Wendy Eight, yes. Schultz,
Yes.
Martell,
Yes.
Merchant.
Yes.
And this resolution is approved 5-0.
And
Well
that's number 5.
So Jeff
See if I can
would
get my
be
numbers right
number
this time.
6, right? No, where's Jeff's resolution? Jeff's isn't a resolution, right?
No, it is
Okay.
not. It's a nomination. So I spoke to Jeff. You have
Oh, that's
his
right then.
communication. He has expressed an interest. When I discussed the alternate 1, alternate 2, because of his relative newness to the whole process, he has requested that he be given the chance to be alternate number 2, so that he has a chance to observe a couple of the meetings and get familiar with it. So therefore, I agreed to do that, and we'll move Rita from alternate number 2 to alternate number 1. Excuse me. And Jeff is alternate number 2. Any discussion on that?
Just cleaning up the paperwork. So it should say new business item number 7
Yep,
on the sheet where we're actually doing the voting.
correct. Yep.
Everybody got that one?
Mhm.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
I don't have any, but I'd like to make the motion to approve the nomination of Jeff Weincoop as ZBA alternate number 2, and move Rita's service from alternate number 2 to alternate number 1, effective January 19th, 2023.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jason. Motion has been made to approve the nomination of Jeff Weincoop as ZBA alternate number 2 and move Rita Service from alternate number 2 to alternate number 1 effective January 19th, 2023. Any discussion related to the motion? Hearing
Is this related to the day after the meeting then?
the meeting has been canceled.
Tomorrow's meeting?
Yes, there was one individual could not make it, and then a second could not make it. Therefore, we were down to 4. My understanding is there's an option given to the applicant to either go forward with 4 members, or they could say they'd rather have a meeting before 5. So therefore, they took a wait so that they would have 5 members on the board when he makes the presentation.
So this date isn't relevant to anything as far as,
It was
the meeting.
relevant in the sense that I thought if in fact there was another absentee for some reason, Jeff would then automatically be alternate
Yeah,
number 2 and
I
would have to
gotcha.
sit. So I thought,
right out of the gate, huh?
let's not throw him under the bus. So that
That's the only reason I asked.
I manipulated the date so that we didn't get stuck in a quandary
Understood,
on that.
understood. Thank you for clarification.
No further discussion then, Kathy.
We have first names this time. Bob,
Yes?
Alan,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes,
myself, yes. We approve the nomination of Mr. Weincoop. 5-0.
Great.
welcome.
Don't thank us yet.
Yeah, yeah. There's exciting days ahead. Moving to item number 8, if I have my numbers right.
So Jeff has 2 jobs with us here.
Yes. Todd Millar sent us a note, which you have a copy of. His hourly rate has moved from 190 to 200 per hour. Board, any discussion? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion on that?
I have a question.
All right, before the motion.
Yes, I don't think it's important the way the motion is worded, but he says it's being raised to 200 from 180.
Yes, and that's why the motion says 190, because I called him up and I said, wait a minute, I think we've been getting billed at 190. So,
Okay,
so he gave me a note that said, yep, it's going from 190, because I
okay,
looked at it and I said, okay, 180 to 200 is about 10%. But over 2 years, because that would have been 180 the previous year, you're still back to your 5%. So I wrote him and he said, oh, it's 190. So do I have a motion on this?
okay. I can make, excuse me. I think I can make the motion to approve the increased billing rate.
I'll second it.
All right, motion has been made and seconded to approve the increased billing rate of the township attorney, Todd Millar, from 190 to $200 per hour. I think you wanted that added, correct?
Yes. Well, I knew you were going to
Any
repeat
question
it.
on the motion? If not, then all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Move on to number 9. We've been given a new contract from our auditing firm. Sharon, you want to make any comments on this?
Yes, when I was going through with our budget, I noticed that I always look at contracts to see where we're standing on all the contracts we have. So I noticed that this contract was up, and so I requested a new contract, and everybody has copies of it. They work very well with us. They work very well because they understand the BSNA program extensively. And he did help me with a second pair of eyes through this whole brand new conversion of the Michigan new laws of accounting updates also. So I was thankful for that. This firm is also represented by our neighboring townships. I know Elk Rapids, and I know Central Lake, and I know Banks Township, amongst many others. So I would like to change his motions a little bit slightly here. So if Veronica's on the listening, I would like to make the motion. Is there any questions?
Nope.
Okay, I'd like to make the motion to approve the contract for complete financial yearly audits, is what he's got in his contract here, from Bard, Cotier, and Bishop with an OP as the township auditors, period. Audit years and costs not to exceed for 2023, $5,975, 2024 at $6,200, and 2025 at $6,500.
Could you read it one more time?
Behind the contract, I just wrote.
Just read it.
Okay, motion to approve the contract for complete financial yearly audits from Barnard, Cotier, and Bishop as the township auditors, period. Audit years and costs not to exceed for 2023 at $5,975, 2024 at $6,200, and 2025 at $6,500
Thank you.
Bishop with an O.
Bishop with
with
an
an O. The reason I don't know if I need to make a reason, but the reason I do that, the contract for the complete financial audit, is because those are the figures we have for the audit. We also put a little extra in there for those times that we depend on him to look at something or help us with something. Those are extra charges perhaps we may get. Like this big chart of accounts that we did, he spent a lot of time with me on that, so there was an extra, so it's not part of the audit, so I just wanted to make sure that the contract is for the financial yearly audit. Does that make sense?
Well, the question though is then, the cost could exceed the numbers you put in here.
Right, because you have originally said not to exceed.
Right, so you're just saying cost for, taking out not to exceed? You're taking that out then?
I didn't, but if that makes more sense,
Well, it does, because right now, you're limiting his
Right,
expenses to
right.
the financial audit.
right, the financial audit.
Yeah,
Those are the financial audits. That's why I added it at the top, financial yearly audits.
and that's fine, and those are costs not to exceed
That's correct.
for 2023. So we can leave not to exceed in there,
Correct.
but that's not his full contract. It's, I mean, we got more costs.
Well, those are the contracts for the audit. Anything else exceeding beyond that would be,
Do we have a separate audit, or is that included in the, because I was trying to, I didn't see anything in there about extra, what he's
well,
doing right
we,
now.
in the budget, we usually add a little bit extra, a couple $100 or whatever as a rule, because there are extra costs along the way if we need them for something else.
But we add it to the contract line, the GL number
Mhm.
for contract.
So
So maybe we should take out not to exceed.
I would say do that, and then we should probably follow up with him and get a contract for additional accounting services. So as for instance, the costs associated with all this work on the new accounting work that you were doing, that's going to come in under a different expense item. It would be accounting work as opposed to the audit
Well,
work.
But we put it
We
in audit.
put it all under audit services. It's all under audit services,
All
so
right. Would it exceed 5,000?
no, a couple $100.
All right.
He charged when he came out and did it and explained the audit to us. He charged for that time here. It was like, it was $200 or $300.
That's for his time and travel.
Yeah, so we need that. We need something in there if we have that.
Right.
So if we said,
Well, so if we audit years.
well, let's just
um,
leave it for this now and for the next board meeting, let's have them just submit a services contract to us, which tells us what his hourly rate is and what services he would provide. And we'll just approve that contract. For the time being, this gets where we need to be for
And-
his audit work.
Let me just, can I, before we make a decision here, I brought his emails back and forth with me, and I said, do we need a contract with the upcoming audit? I'm asking him these questions because to me, they look like it expires. So he wrote back with a contract. And I said, thank you, put it on the January board meeting. And as we go on, he said, yeah, a lot of townships don't have a contract with us. It isn't required or anything, but I am of the opinion that it is a good idea to have a contract in place. And I wrote back and said, best practice is always a win. So it's not all townships have a contract. So you can take it on this motion. However, if we want to tweak it,
Well, do we have, I'm sorry, but do we have a way out of the contract? Do we have a 30-day notice kind of thing? That's the only thing I can think of.
We haven't signed the contract yet, so.
I mean, if are we stuck for 3 years, if we, all of a sudden, I don't know what could happen.
I didn't see anything in there.
I don't remember. I didn't look at this one carefully, but,
it's the same one we've had for the last
yeah.
2 prior contracts. So I feel very comfortable with it. If you want to,
Well, I would recommend, let's table this and go back to them and have a separate discussion. We could put in there a clause, for cause or whatever. And also then put in a section related to services so we know what his billing rate's going to be when
Okay,
we call upon.
I withdraw my motion then.
All right, we will table that for the next board meeting.
In a way, we're really hiring his company, not him. As
Right.
I look at it. I think we are. Okay.
Yeah, no, we are.
Which one?
Was there a second
Because-
to it?
There was not.
There was, nope. All right, so. we'll
So
get
do you
this back.
want you want to handle that, or do you want me?
I can handle it if you'd like.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right, board, that completes new business. All right, board discussion. I have brought a couple of police power ordinances before the board for your consideration. I wanted to get these things moved forward or get them off my plate. Does the board have any interest in moving forward with the creation of the noise ordinance? Alan, I'll start with you.
It's a tough one. It's hard, and it's hard to enforce. At least the ones that I have looked at. You're between a rock and a hard place because, again, living on the water, we have all this fireworks issues all summer long. It goes on and on and on, even much after the 4th of July. And it isn't that they'll do it at 2 in the morning and 3 in the morning kind of stuff. And that's just my being there. The other side of it is that we have no way of, without an ordinance, we have nothing to enforce. And isn't there a level at the county though they have a fireworks ordinance at the county, don't they?
Well, we do too.
We have a fireworks
But
ordinance.
what I'm
yeah.
getting at is other kinds of noises, just a
Yep.
party kind of stuff.
It's one of these thumbs up, thumbs down.
You had something too at your neighborhood at one point that wasn't fireworks.
No, he had a big party.
Yeah,
That's why we've got the discussion, because Bob
right.
brought this
Yeah,
back
I
up.
know.
It was a noisy party, probably over 100 people there. I called Bob, I called, guess we get Bob Watkins. Called Bob, and I think Bob and Rita came out and looked at it. They had a sound system, great sound system. Like, in my walls.
Hey, Bob? Bob, you want to come up to the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bob Spencer, 709 Northwest Torch Lake Drive. There was a party, I think it was on June 1st, in some kind of reception. There were probably close to 40 cars, 45 cars parked in the front lawn. The 2 tents were set up the day before, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I found out about 9:30 that night as I was sitting in bed reading. And I started hearing this boom, boom, boom. And the walls of my house started, I could feel the vibrations. Anyway, there were, I'm sure, over 100 people there. And I finally ended up calling the police about 10:30. And they said they would send over a couple of officers. I asked our supervisor to involve the county or the township, Bob Hawkins, ordinance enforcement officer. I called Jackie Peterson and asked her to come and inspect it. I talked to her the next week, and that didn't happen. And I heard after that in discussions about this concept that there hasn't been a complaint about any noise in several years. Well, mine was a complaint. And I talked to Jackie about that, and I asked her what would constitute a complaint. And she said, well, if you call one of the officers, or, excuse me, call one of the township officers. I said, how about the supervisor? And how about if I asked him to involve the ordinance enforcement officer? Now you'd probably need to call the police too. How about if I called the sheriff's department and they sent 2 officers out? So I never got an answer about, yes, that must have been a complaint, but it was a complaint. And I was complaining, I think you need a noise ordinance, and Alan, I think I told you a few months ago that you raised this exact issue related to property rentals in these new mega mansions. And you said, we're going to have some problems with noise and parties and so on. And I experienced that. I think you need a noise ordinance. And I think responsible people who think clearly are going to enforce it wisely. But there will be times you need that, my opinion. But I don't want to talk too much about it because I'll go on and on.
That's right.
So,
But just to clarify, you never said, Bob, I'm filing a formal complaint. You just said, can you go check on this noise? But that's okay.
well, okay. Now
That's fine. I'm just responding to you. Thank you.
I never said this is a formal complaint. I never put it in writing and said, I'm writing a formal
Right.
complaint. Does everybody who files a complaint with the township, are they told it's not really a complaint unless they put it in writing or
Normally
say
they,
verbal?
normally they say they're complaining about something. And you
Well,
called
they
me and
may be
said,
complaining about something, but did they say I'm filing an
"Well,
official
I'm just
complaint?
adding that as
Yeah,
an
and
add-on.
I'm telling you, you're being a
Bless you.
little restrictive, I believe.
That's fine. Bob.
Concern.
Sometimes we can intuitively
That's okay.
recognize a complaint when it happens. You don't have to have it written, this is a complaint.
Yeah, well, it was a friendly tone.
See me
All
smiling.
right, so
See me
Alan,
smiling.
back to you. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Well, I keep thinking of how the lawyers play games with the noise ordinance. I like the issue of a standard. If my walls are shaking, that could be that's better than a decibel reader. I thought that might, because I was been in an apartment where they had a boom box in one of the units and drive the whole place crazy. And there used to be a phrase, something about a noise that would be inordinately loud for a sensible person to feel uncomfortable because of the level of it, that kind of thing. And that was apparently, you didn't have a measurement, but you had a opinion. That's the problem with it.
So what do you think, Alan?
I hate to say no forever, because it isn't just the mega mansions, by the way. It's, I think of when we got into the short-term rentals, about the fraternity that rented a house on Birchview for a week, and the whole neighborhood didn't.
So is that a yes?
Pardon me?
Is that a yes now?
Well, what I'm getting at is that brought into question of short-term rentals, and which again is, we don't have those here, and I hope we continue to enforce that, because again, people, my own family comes up and I've got to go quiet them down. They're up for the weekend and they're partying, but they live in the neighborhood.
Ellen, we got a
Anyways,
short
hang on. This is all part of my coming to a yay or nay. I would say, let's see how it goes. If Bob's neighbor has another party, we need to rewrite that ordinance and really make it strict. And tell Todd Millar, we're going to pay a lot of money for this, Todd, but you got to enforce this or something. I mean,
All right, so
that can get out of hand.
I take that as a nay.
Thank you.
Jason?
Okay.
No, I don't think at this time that we need to. I mean, 9 o'clock at June 1st, the sun's still shining bright. We're still playing softball. I could see if it happened over and over again, but it was one time, maybe 2 times. Again, like I said before, our one meeting, before I moved up here farther north, I lived right next to the Hubble's wedding barn, and that place jams till 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes we'd go out on their deck and have a drink and jam with them. Sometimes we'd shut the door, turn the fan on, and, and let them do their thing. So,
All
so I
right,
say no.
it's fine. Kath?
Well, Alan is the one I think that just this evening made the comment, without an ordinance in place, we have nothing to enforce. We don't have a way. Surely somebody in the state of Michigan has a noise ordinance. Have we not found anybody that has one that we can look at? And
There's few, yeah. East
so I
Jordan.
would say pursue it, pursue
Okay,
it.
So we got 2 nays, 1 yes. Sharon?
When I look at the Antrim County yearly report, fireworks were 2 for the year, complaints. And then I look at noise complaints for the year, and Township was 9. I don't know if Bob's was one of those 9 or not, but.
Well, it might be on 911.
Well, there's not a lot. I just wanted to say, I did have a taxpayer come in paying their taxes, and they were seriously asking me if they could have their taxes reduced for the mere fact that US 31 rumble strips shake their windows along the highway. So they said they wanted to get a complaint and to reduce their property taxes because the rumble strips made their windows shake in their house. So is that a noise? Yeah. I mean, there's so many variations. I'm
live right
at this
there.
point a no.
Okay. Then I don't have to answer, it's.
Well, we want
3
to know what you
nays.
think.
You don't want to give us your opinion, huh?
I think my concern is on the enforcement side.
Mhm.
And until we can figure that out, that we have something we don't put somebody in danger, which would be the ordinance enforcement officer if they go up to a party that's not there, that 911 ought to be our recourse, and I was a no. So 4-1, I will take this off my to-do list. On the second item, next item is the dangerous building ordinance, which,
Can I mention something? I just had a thought with regard to Jairus, with regard to, there could be, what do you call it when you've gone beyond a point? When you've gone beyond and you,
beyond a reasonable doubt.
yeah, that's one of them, but you've crossed, somebody drew the line and you.
I can't hear you without your
stepped
microphone,
over.
Alan.
What
You
I'm,
gotta
what
speak.
I'm getting at is, I'm wondering if the county would consider that, like, fireworks and noise ordinances in the summer is very, very important to the residents in the county if it's a problem. And to maybe prioritize that a little bit in some way. They put on a Marine officer in the summertime to take care of the boats and things. Seems to me they could maybe prioritize that a little bit. And so that we would have more officers that might show up to that kind of thing, or we could call them to come and take a look at it. Something in which.
We have
Well,
called 911.
What I'm getting at though is
Can you lean
4th of July,
forward?
here's a good example.
Alan, lean forward, please.
The 4th of July is a good example of that. That week, there is a time in which we do have a lot of fireworks and we have a lot of noise. And then we start the vacation the first weeks of August and the second weeks of August. It's a big vacation time. But something in which they would prioritize their calls. I mean, fireworks is not somebody shooting somebody, but it's important. And it would be good for them. They'd get a lot of good reputation out of it. I'm going to talk to Jairus about that.
We do have it on record. We do have an ordinance for that, correct?
No, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at
I don't know what he's
how
getting at.
that the sheriff would indicate that if there's serious noise, we would like to know about it, and especially summer. Serious disturbance, that kind of thing. I mean, you can go through this list that the sheriff gives us with the summary for the year. And it seems to me that many of those are seasonal kinds of things that they have on there. Not all of them, but many that could be pinned down to more seasonal kinds of things. I don't know. I'm just drawn. Go ahead. Let's quit. I'm going
Yeah.
to quit. I'm going to quit. I'm shutting up. I don't know. I'll think more on it.
I would, Alan, just based on what you said, you might take it to a commissioners meeting and give them a 4-minute public comment and see if you trigger anything. And then let Jairus take it from there and put it on the agenda.
I'll think of that. I'll think of
All
doing
right.
something like that.
Is,
All right.
is the only way to have rules is with an ordinance?
Police power ordinance, yeah.
Otherwise,
The board has a vote. What kind of rules are you?
Well, some of the things like after midnight, after 12 o'clock.
There
or-
there are laws already on the
Um,
books for all that.
Where? How, under what?
State.
State? I don't know. I mean, not having an ordinance that states,
There's
noise
fireworks.
after 10 o'clock will not be
There's-
tolerated, blah,
right,
blah,
there are
but,
Fireworks laws.
well, we have a fireworks ordinance.
Right,
That-
we
we're
do.
okay
That's why I
then.
say.
Yeah,
All right.
we got that one covered.
We'll move on to the next one.
Dangerous buildings,
Dan-
dangerous.
I passed it out last time. It basically was triggered because of the old Peterson's building down there, the restaurant. And do we want the power to be able to handle that? So again, I'm just going to ask the board.
I
for a
missed that
consensus.
meeting, so I don't remember seeing anything.
Well, it
So,
was in your packet.
Who
well, I
would-
didn't,
who would
actually,
pay
I
for
don't
it?
have
Who
the
would pay
packet,
for it?
so.
But,
Who would pay for it?
who would pay? The township would have to pay for it, for the inspection.
To-
Yeah. Well, I think if we condemn it, then we can charge the person, at least based on what was in that document.
Well, you
And
can,
we can
That's
recover our
that's how I
costs.
understood it.
you can charge them,
Yes.
but how do you make them pay? Throw them in jail or
No,
whatever?
Put a
or-
lien on the property. They can't sell it until they pay it off.
I don't want to sell it.
Well, then, it just would accrue interest, and at some point, somebody in their inheritance is going to try to sell it.
I've seen it on tax bills too.
Yeah.
So the initial payment though is coming out of our account.
Well, that's right. We
Front
would
the
have
money?
to- We would have to front the money to take care of it. But the question becomes,
Then we would get the land then?
no, you don't get a deed.
Maybe.
after. You only get it if they don't pay the
I
lien
know.
and we foreclose, I guess. The idea is that we have no way of taking care of a building that is in disrepair and is dangerous to the public for kids that are wandering around or running around in buildings or whatever. But there, as you read through it, there's costs associated with it because you're going to have to hire an engineering firm. You'll have to outsource those services because you don't want to put a full-time employee on for them. But it's at least something that allows the township to take action. So the question I have for you is, do you want to continue to think about it and bring it up again at the April 25th board meeting, which is 2 months away? Or do you have no interest in it? So Sharon, I'll start with you.
Well, thank you. I didn't participate in that conversation prior, and reading something is something different. But I know of other townships that have had burned buildings that have been neglected and not taken care of. Many right around near us, I know that townships have struggled with some of those. So you're talking about that type of thing too. That would be a constituted of a dangerous building, a burned out building that's sitting there, right? I think some of our neighboring townships have one already.
Well, the question is, do you think we should pursue it? Yeah.
I think we should pursue it.
Okay, that's fine. That's a yes. Kathy?
The reason I'm hesitating is that I had a father who who had a house that if you'd have driven by his house, you would have said, why the hell doesn't somebody burn this house down? But it was his house and it was where he lived and it didn't mean a cotton picking thing,
Well,
what somebody else thought about his house. So what makes me think is we just keep having more and more rules about everything. If there's a danger, obviously danger, but when do you decide that there's a danger? I would say Peterson's is probably a danger of collapsing on somebody. I don't know, it sort
So
of
how do you-
bothers me, that's
Is
all.
Is there a difference between occupied and unoccupied, Kathy?
Guys, all I'm asking for is do you have an interest? Because I know there's work to be done on it.
I would say
question is-
yes,
All
if
right,
we could
that's
figure it
all-
out, yes.
That's all I'm trying to do.
I know.
Do you want me to spend time on it or not? If you don't, then I just don't want to worry about it. If you do, then I'll spend the time over the course of the next 2 months and bring back a document that would be applicable for our township. That's all, for your consideration.
Jason? You're next.
No, Ellen, I'm waiting. Ellen's got this frown on his face.
He's
So
frowning.
Well, no, I'm not interested.
All
I
right.
feel like you're gonna open up a can of worms, because I can think of 6 other places that are just as bad as that place. So,
Okay.
So that's 6 fires, right?
or it's just 6 buildings that are rough and probably should be torn down, but I mean, that's a lot of money for those people. Maybe they can't afford it.
Obviously that they would have probably paid for it already, right?
Yeah, I mean, to get the laundromat in Elk Rapids, that thing's been sitting there for 45 years with nothing going on, and they still won't do anything with that. I know it's an eyesore, but it's a free country too.
All right, Alan?
Yeah, I think Jason said an eyesore. I think that's a key word from my mind too. If somebody is living there, and that's what they've got. And I don't surely want to take them out of their home, however it is. How do we I guess the question is, it's different if they're living in there and it's dangerous. But I don't know how to determine that without going inside and having inspections and
That
all
would
of
be
that.
health department.
Well,
I'm
That's-
thinking occupied and non-occupied.
yeah, I think that you're bringing up all good points. But I'm back to the question.
Let's explore
Do you
it.
want to
Yes.
explore it? That's all I'm
All right,
asking.
yes, yes,
So
yes, yes,
we have
okay.
4, because I think we should explore it. There's a lot of nicks and knacks that you're going to have to look at. And it's going to take some time to put that together.
Yep.
But the idea is we have no way to address an issue. All right, so I will continue to work on this project. All right. Agenda for informational purposes only. It's just a reminder that the budget meeting and the annual meeting will be on March 7th. The budget meeting will start at 6 p.m. The annual meeting will follow it. Let's see, citizen comment. I don't see any citizen comment.
Bob, say that again. You're saying March 3rd, did you say?
No, March 7th.
March 7th is the annual meeting. Okay.
Yes.
And that's at 6.
Yep.
I didn't get that to the calendar.
Well,
I think.
the budget meeting comes first.
Yes,
So
at
that
6.
starts at
And then we
6.
have a regular meeting.
Annual meeting.
Just, I want to ask you one question, and I'm almost sure I am wrong. But our next meeting is on the 23rd. I have a note at home from our board meeting before, and it said 24th. It is the 23rd?
No, you mean the board
Budget
meeting?
meeting, yeah,
The
but-
budget meeting for January 23rd was canceled, and I canceled the 30th, and we're doing it on the 31st.
I'm glad I asked.
Yeah,
So, okay. Thank you.
because basically we're down to
Yeah, and
the
that's a
general
6,
fund.
that's a
And
6:15 meeting.
Yep,
Yeah, okay, thank you.
all right.
And would you like to rephrase your statement that you don't see any audience?
No, I said there was no
Audience comment.
comment.
Well, you didn't even ask.
We did, I said citizen comment.
No, we
Look.
stood up.
I'm not dragging them out of their chair. And you notice the other two left. All right, so we're down to board comment.
Something that's interesting, we
Is
don't
this
have
your
any,
board comment?
yes,
Okay.
we don't have any snow. And I'm trying to understand exactly what happened at my house the other night. The dogs 2 doors away were going nuts about 9 o'clock at night. And I said, what's going on? Often it's a porcupine. They're circled a porcupine. I flipped on the halogens outside and I stepped out on my porch and there was a squeal and a growl just below my hill that was not a small animal. It was not a bobcat. And it really was angry and it was gone. And the dogs, I could see them on a little hill rise and they didn't want to come near it, but they were barking like mad. I don't know what it was, but I actually, with the DNR officer one time, a bobcat hit the side of my car and was knocked out. And the DNR officer came and we put it in a cage. Then he came back the next day with this cat to release it because it was a nursing female. They took it to the same spot on Crestwell Road and that cat was going nuts. So I've heard a loud cat. This was not a bobcat. So what's happened is the animals have not burrowed. They would normally make their burrow a hole and they make a limited area. But with the woods being open like this, they're all over. So I don't know what that means with regard, it's nice and it's also something you got to be aware of. But I think I had a big cat near the house, but that's I can't prove it. That's my comment.
All right. Jason?
No comment.
Kathy?
I was just going to say, after my father passed away and the property was sold, it was torn down, just in case you cared. I'm going to comment about the email I sent out to the Planning Commission, the ZBA, the Township Board about our attorney for the helicopter case, asking us to not destroy any documents that we have, anything that may be needed, and you may be asked to testify. We'll see how that all comes down. So I think I've only heard from Sharon so far. So just letting you know.
Say it again.
You know that we have a court date, correct, for the helicopter pad? We're
No, I
going-
didn't know that.
Okay, Bob? Yeah, we're going to court.
Uh-huh.
We don't have a date.
And we have an attorney that's representing the township through our par plan insurance company. They assign an attorney. And that attorney is just reaching out to everybody. I sent his letter to you. So read his letter.
It's on, I know where it is. I didn't look at it.
Okay.
Well, all it says is that in case they file for the FOIA, don't destroy anything that you may have associated with any communication associated with that property.
Gotcha. So this was the decision of the ZBA
Yes.
about that was not a helicopter pad?
No. There were two issues. One was it was built in a setback.
Yes.
And number two, it's a structure that they claimed it was a patio. So it was built with concrete and
Okay.
rebar, and so therefore,
I gotcha.
Didn't he have a permit from Deb though?
they had, so stepping back, the other violation was aeronautical activity. Helicopters landing in an R1 is not an approved upon
Use.
use.
Yep.
So there were two issues. They decided both. Deb approved for them having to get a permit because they only said they were putting in a patio. They did not say a helipad or a landing pad. In the attorney's discussion before the ZBA, she intermingled the three terms, patio, helipad, and landing pad. So,
Was she out there investigating this as it was being built?
well, no, because you're not going to investigate a patio, but she did go out at one point and look at it. But what they did was, it was enclosed with wood because they were curing the cement during the winter month. So it's just one of those things that I certainly do not blame Deb or think that she missed anything at all in this thing. They, they did what they did, and at this particular juncture, it's going to court, and the court will make whatever decisions they will make. But right now, they are only in the preparing the brief stage, and there is no court date. All right, I've got two things. One is, I was at Antrim County Road Commission today, and we have now gotten them to agree to make the beach area at the nature preserve no parking. All the way back to where the existing parking is. Yes. So I will be working with Bert on signage. We will verify that in fact the fire chief, because if you'll remember about 1.5 years ago, we made that whole thing a fire lane. And then they kind of reneged on the deal that I thought I had, and we couldn't put up any signs. Bert is going to work with us on the signage, and we will cover part of the cost because I want them to put the signs in the ground. If you remember, we put signs in and they disappeared within a week, and our guys put them down with concrete. So I want to make sure those signs don't go away.
Do we need to tell them that they'll be ticketed?
Oh, on the sign we did before, it's a $500 fine and a towaway. So, yep, we have that.
Did you want me to say something before you finish up there?
Did you have anything to say?
I have 4 things to say.
That's probably why I jumped in there.
Yeah, you did.
Go ahead.
It'll be brief. At the budget hearing, I gave everybody a revenue sharing, and across the state, it was in the red. Everybody was down. There's a good thing when it comes out of Friday the 13th. The state revenue revised our revenue sharing. The officials from the Michigan Department, I gave you your sheets there. Michigan Department of Treasury, State Fiscal Agency, and House Fiscal Agency agreed to increase the revenue estimated by $1.2 billion for the revenue. So you'll see that we're in the black, not in the red. So I gave everybody analysis and to the information that I got that came down on Friday the 13th. Number 2, real briefly, back in November, we had a motion to approve the installation of a street light at the corner of Bay Colony Road and 31. The very next day, I contacted the electric company and talked with the manager there, and he said he was going to send an engineer out to look to see if we needed a pole light or a major suspension. I did that back in November. I hadn't heard from this from the manager, so I reached out to him again last week, and he got back a hold of me and said that his engineers didn't get back in touch with him, but the engineers couldn't put up only a pole light. It needs to be a major suspension across the lines of the road. So he is ordering that light to start. So you'll be seeing people putting up lights finally. I persistent with them for the last 2 months. So that's that update on that road. Number 3 here, Cindy Dodge, MTA, is a great asset to all townships and with her training and everything. Cindy has lots of experience in assessing. She's been a clerk. She's been a lot of hands on hats at MTA. Cindy's compiled 10 years of learning and listening to boards and so forth. And for the last 3 years, she's been writing a new book. It came out press. We just got our first and it's called Assessing, Township Assessing. It's a guide for township boards, hot off the press. It's very informational, extremely. We got this book here. So I encourage to leave it here, or if you take it home, sign it out type of thing. But it's a great asset to look for the boards learning about assessing. So that's that.
You can take it home first. I'll pass.
And just, I want to say happy birthday to Kathy.
Good.
Have a piece of cake. Sharon bought a lovely cake for me today, and it's back there waiting.
So have I covered everybody now so that
Yes.
I haven't stepped on any toes?
Sharon, there is, if you go by the airport, and you look at how the wires are, they are in a particular way for an approval or clearance for landing when you're coming in, heading to the west. And I don't know if that light would have any interference, or if the county would know about that. That's what I'm getting
This is electrical engineers. I'm not stepping on any of their toes of what they come out and diagnose. We wanted a street light there, so.
Those lines are in a specific place there, and so just to.
They wouldn't be in the flight path because it's going to be over the,
It's going to be
Well,
over
I
31.
would think not. I would think not. I would think not. But I know somebody who crashed there. And they were fighting their aircraft. They had a freeze out in the middle of the
Well, you
summer.
voted on a light, street light there, so they're
It's
working
going
on
in.
it.
Well, I'm
So,
not arguing with you. I'm just saying
Okay.
it's a question that somebody should answer before, and if they know to answer it or get an answer, that's fine. Yeah, but I'll shut up. Go ahead. I mean, it's the kind of question I would ask and I would get an answer,
well,
but you don't have to.
well, I would think that since they're going to see the orange balls there on the wires across the street, that would kind of be a dead giveaway for them.
Well, you would think,
Yeah.
you
Well,
would think,
when they're out there, you go by there
now and then.
down there. I mean, if one of us goes by there, I'll think about it and stop. And ask 'em.
There's an elevation thing there. I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to leave
All
it to
right.
the engineers.
All right, so first comment I made, we got no parking down there. The second one relates to the email that the board received from Jackie Peterson that was sent out by Mr. Martell to the Planning Commission on January 8th, 2023. Mr. Martell, as a trustee, submitted a letter to the Planning Commission regarding the upcoming work the PC will be doing on the rewrite of our ordinances by our planning firm of Beckett and Rader and our zoning administrator, Sarah Capriva. He did not share the memo with the board, nor did he send a copy to the zoning administrator's office. Mr. Martell is free to express his opinion on the matter, but writing as a trustee, a courtesy copy should have been provided to the board members in the zoning administrator's office. In addition, when we proposed the rewrite, Mr. Martell objected to it based on his personal opinion that our zoning ordinance only required minor changes. He reiterated that point in this letter, saying we have a good zoning ordinance. On the contrary to Mr. Martell's beliefs, this rewrite was undertaken because Steve Langworthy, considered one of the foremost experts in the state of Michigan regarding township zoning ordinances, told me we needed to fix our zoning ordinances. Mr. Langworthy conducted a training session in 2021 for the township and was not complimentary with regards to our zoning ordinances. I went to Steve asking, as a supervisor, what I should do, and his comment was that his review of our zoning ordinance really required a rewrite to be undertaken. I wrote to Mr. Langworthy after our June board meeting at which Mr. Martell made his comments and the board approved the rewrite 4-1. I wrote, the board approved the contract with Beckett and Rader to redo our ordinances. During the discussion, I received pushback from certain members who seemed to indicate there were only minor changes required and that it could be accomplished in-house with Sarah's help. His response, Bob, thanks for your request. First, I can assure you that there are significant changes in language, format, and legal requirements that will be needed. I even told Sarah that if she found, as I did, that there are so many changes, that she would stop the review and come back to the commission with a rewrite recommendation and use the funds on the rewrite rather than the full analysis. As it turns out, that's exactly what we did. As I went through it, as he continued, I believe I would have had some chapters, almost as many pages of comments as the ordinance itself. The changes are going to be many and complex in some cases. The discussion on the sign regulations is but one example of the legal and technical issues involved. Ordinances like these are too technical and require a broad range of knowledge of zoning issues and regulations. Nothing personal, Ellen, but I do not consider you in the same league as Mr. Langworthy when it comes to evaluating our zoning ordinances. But more disturbing was the insinuation that the rewrite might just be a boilerplate submission of standard ordinances. Mr. Martell never attended a meeting to understand what was being accomplished in the rewrite, nor did he indicate that he actually read the rewritten document to be able to draw any conclusions regarding the work that was being presented. The rewrite was to update our ordinances, eliminate the confusing, contradicting sections, and reorganizing them for greater clarity and ease of use. We also needed them to be updated to ensure we are in compliance with the laws at a state and federal level. In my opinion, adding insult his statement, in quotes, neither the person who serves as both the consultant and zoning administrator, Sarah Capriva, nor the assistant zoning administrator, Jackie Peterson, have authority over your commission. He does not explain what action these two individuals took to indicate that they have authority over the planning commission or that they tried to. He then adds, their exact responsibilities are not totally clear to me. I don't understand how that can be. Mr. Martell has waited almost 2 years to state he doesn't know their exact responsibilities. He has never questioned or commented on the monthly report that the zoning administrator's office provides to the board. This past month's report was 5 pages long and shows how active the office has been this year. So if he doesn't know the responsibilities, why is he concerned now? He then insults the planning commission, telling them what they can do, as if the members of that commission do not understand. Finally, Mr. Martell offers his services when in fact it is the role of the zoning administrator to work with the planning commission, and at a minimum, they should ask an authorized expert like Mr. Langworthy for their opinion if there's still confusion. I believe he owes Sarah and Jackie an apology for his failure to recognize the significant work they are performing for our township. I will let him work through that and hope that at the next board meeting, he will extend them that courtesy. That concludes my remarks. I will make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Why won't you let me make a
Second.
comment?
Because
You've done a really difficult job, and if you take a look at what is there, not a single word change.
That's why we wear the battery.